Alright, welcome. In this video, I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about devices by way of the choke chain, okay? That's commonly referred to as choke chain. It's this length of chain here, okay, that goes in. It's almost like a magic trick. You put it in to push part of it through the hole and just pull it out, and there you go. It's ready to go, okay, for a dog. Versus, okay, and again, I've talked about this on some prior videos, but I want to do another one here just to, talk about the difference. Versus called a pinch collar, and there's different designs of this. Some have, rubber on it. See this one here. This one was left by a dog owner that I was helping once I switched her over to a choke chain as the go-between device. We'll talk about this a little bit to help people understand, because understand when people look at devices, oftentimes they're filtering everything through a certain process, okay, a certain pathway. And typically, again, talk about source of problem by way of how it is that people use treats, basically bribery. Okay, understand bribery is the problem here in the dog training world. So many don't understand that you have to understand once a dog is already holding a level of control in the relationship, you're experiencing behavioral issues, it changes everything. Understand that when you jump into it and you start pulling out motivators that way, and you're just looking at responses in a very kind of a superficial, one-dimensional way, okay, it can lead you into assumptions that are wrong, okay, regarding perceptions of dogs. Things can look really good, and you can get to engage a certain way, and meanwhile, okay, perceptions of dogs are not changing. Okay, understand, this is the source of the problem. So understand that that's part of that's the big one, okay? Then everything kind of follows that path, okay? Understand, when trainers are using certain devices, right, they're just thinking about, generating a response that way. And again, very interesting, because this is where, and I've seen it on videos where these balanced trainers will say, well, I want to use a prong or pinch collar to expedite the process. But again, my question is, well, that's an interesting way of how you word that. Expedite what exactly? Think about that. If you're motivating dogs that way, and even if you're using a device that generates a negative, the problems is the superficial way in which you're trying to build a pitch or trying to establish certain responses. And the problem with this type of collar, the focus becomes about this device doing the work, okay? Look at how it's designed. Now, understand, when I look at these devices, I don't filter things through emotionally, right? People can look at this device and say, that's barbaric, and they use all sorts of inflammatory language because their emotions are leading. When I look at something, I look at it differently, say, okay, based again on a interaction-based approach, okay, what is the best device to use to make sure that truly you're fading in the right way? Okay, that's how I look at devices. So, yes, you can get a better walk with this device, but understand, okay, dogs oftentimes will say, sure, I'll respond, for that device, but I'm still in control. Okay, you're not really changing. Okay, you're just leaning on these tools because, again, you're engaged a certain way, right? So it's about, just like, take the parenting example, it's about being dialed in, being invested, okay, interacting with, by way of, again, depth of relationship. So just think about that. And this is why oftentimes people can't ever get these tools off their dog, all right? Their security comes through certain devices, like even remote collars, right? And then a lot of these balanced trainers will say, well, just leave the device on the dog anyway, that's all that matters, because it's a drive-through mentality. Understand, it's not about depth anyway, so they just move along, right? Because all they care about is that you have some level of happiness. But truly, happiness comes through, right, having a better relationship the right way, truly taking the stress off the dog, and really making sure behavioral issues are going away by way of perceptions changing. So again, I talk about an interaction-based approach, it's how everything lines up. Now getting to the device that I recommend as a go-between, okay, device for, and understand this is for dogs, bigger dogs that are holding a high level of control. You need leverage, okay? You have to have the ability to control these dogs, okay? So, but here's the thing is, I recommend both collars on the dog at the same time. It's your flat standard collar, okay, and the choke chain also on the dog, and you can switch back and forth. If you're, say, outside and you need more leverage. And again, when I talk about leverage, okay, it's about being proactive. Okay, that's a big word here. I mean, I talk about this a lot. Proactive. Okay, that changes everything. If you're proactive, you're not waiting, and the dog's more agreeable. You're dialed in different. So again, when you hear trainers, balance trainers, talk about the trachea and damaging the trachea, understand they're not dialed in right anyway. Okay, so they're filtering everything through, right, a appearance-based lens. They're reactive. Okay, understand this is why when they use influence, right, they're in a reactive posture. They're like the parent who waits till the child's already in the toy aisle, pulling the toys down off the shelf before they decide they're going to jump in. Okay, see, that makes all the difference in the world. So understand when you use a choke chain, because of how being proactive, how you're using this tool, you're not cranking and yanking, not waiting, you're nudging, okay, and that you get the dog right to your side. But because you're proactive anyway, because of everything else you're doing, it makes all the difference in the world, okay? And you'll see in my videos, I'm switching back and forth, okay, but it's how you use that tool, understand. So, because with the bigger dog, you don't want to get pulled down onto the street. I've seen people before they came to me, broken bones, okay? No good, okay? You need some, because the idea here is eventually, is you move beyond tools, okay? These are temporary. Once you're fading at a really good level, you think about actually getting off leash with your dog, have that type of level. Of course, you're out in the street, you have to have a dog on the leash, but the dog is going to be truly floating right beside you. Okay, that's the whole thing. So understand, tools are tools, but then the method itself, okay, I talk about interaction based, makes all the difference in the world. See, that's where I pivot. If I talk about tools, I'm pivoting off a certain approach. Understand that. So other trainers talk about tools. Understand what their pivot point is, okay? You have to understand that. They're talking a different language, right? They're not dialed in that way. So again, but here's the other thing. If you're dealing with, you have to be careful here. If you're dealing with a dog that has a whole lot of control and they really hit that level, then this tool, you put this on the dog and you just focus on just using this right, it can really cause a high level conflict really fast. So you're better off switching to staying indoors, switching to the flat collar, have this tool on them, and just maybe start to use a little bit. So there's a little bit of awareness here that, just don't put this on the dog and decide because you're not dialed in and you're just getting a sense of the method, and so you got to be really aware of that. So then you get this issue about wearing a muzzle. Okay, so I say go back to a muzzle is important. It'll help you. It'll counter some bad moment. You don't want to get bitten. Okay, but here's the thing: if you need help, contact me. That's the thing, because having me there or on FaceTime, it makes all the difference because I can walk you through it. Okay, there's things that we think we're doing right, and it's not. Okay, so because there is some depth to the system. So I just wanted to talk about these two tools for a minute, explain why I use tools a certain way, and encourage you to go watch my videos. I got lots of information out there to help people. Okay, and because it's about it's about moving in the right direction. It's about really establishing the relationship the right way. So there's a reason for everything I do. And if I make certain adjustments, okay, there's a reason for that too. But again, it's about being proactive. There's certain themes in the system that are constant throughout. But just think about the parenting example to really get a foundation of understanding as to moving forward to create real change with your dog. Thanks for watching.